Thank you very much, Luke. Well, it sounds like we're in for some fireworks, not as if we haven't had them already today, Tim. So this is going to be a highly entertaining third and final race of the day at Donington Park. As Matt Neal said, an absolutely crucial race from his point of view.
Yeah, there's no question that the guys have been keeping their powder dry until the third race. I think they're excited to get back to Donington and wanting to get on with some racing. We've absolutely seen some fantastic racing, and you know, they're all talking championship now. It is supremely interestingly poised. Matt Neal now has to make up some points. He's in a very fast car starting on the front row of the grid with zero ballast. You know, you should be putting your money on him, but on a day like today I wouldn't bet on anything.
No, and as Andrew reminded us, the last time he was on pole position on a reverse grid, we've got a problem there for somebody. Tom Boardman in trouble with the bonnet still up. They haven't got that car started, and mechanics still on the grid. So it looks as though there could be troubles there. He may be pushed away when they get the formation lap underway. Very disappointing for Tom.
Yeah, he's been going really well today, right in the thick of all the action after a good qualifying. And you know, who's to say that on a tight circuit like Brands, the last races, he won't pull a real surprise?
No, that's right. But very disappointing for the moment. There goes the rest of the field now pulling away on the formation lap. Andrew Jordan, as I say, he won from pole earlier on this year at Croft. His one victory so far in the British Touring Cars. Rob Collard's so busy warming up his front tyres that he's locking them up already on the brakes, and Jordan making sure that he's getting some heat into those tyres as well. And he sounded very relaxed on the grid. I think he's certainly up for this, having taken a victory already this year. Let's take a look at the grid. Jordan and Matt Neal are on that front row together. Collard on the second row with Stephen Kane, and then Matt Jackson. So 3 BMWs all together. Then Tom Chilton in the LPG powered Ford. Jason Plato starts on the fourth row with Gordon Shedden. Then Tom Onslow Cole, who was so impressive in race 2. James Nash starts alongside him on row 5. Then it's Alex McDowell and Paul O'Neill's had a bit of a tough day so far. Tom Boardman may not get the start from there, as we saw. James Kay spun on his outlap, his reconnaissance lap a moment ago. Hopefully that's put him in good shape for the race, though. Andy Neat and John George are together on row 8. Lee Wood and Dave Pinkney are on row number 9. And then it's Sean Hollenby and Arthur Forster. I don't think Martin Johnson's able to start this race. Sadly, they've had a valve problem with their car. Boardman's car has been put in pit lane and it's started. There it is. And he's going to be able to start, I think, from pit lane. Yeah, it was obviously a starter motor problem or something, but they've been able to start it in the pit lane, and Tom is frantically trying to get some heat in those tyres with a few practice starts down the pit lane, because obviously he hasn't had this warm-up lap. Did have a lap onto the grid with the tyres actually diagonal, but that's the only way to get any heat in it quickly in the pit lane. Yeah, a bit hard to get any heat in the rear tyres. There we are, looking at Gordon Shedden now then. He had a victory earlier on today and a second place. He scored some very good points today, and he's got himself right in that championship mix. Just to remind you, Plato is 15 points ahead of Shedden and Onslow Cole. So there you are, Jason Plato with a 15-point margin, but there are 15 points on offer for the victory in this race. We have the prospect, in fact we have a definite prospect of 4 drivers going to the Brands Hatch finale with a chance of winning the championship, and we think that's the first time it's ever happened, Tim. Yeah, I can't remember it, and there's a possibility of 5 if Chilton had a miraculous result, but certainly 4 will go to Brands in line for the championship. Previous number of highest was 3, I think. That's right, you were part of that mix back in 1992. What happened then? I can't remember. I think you managed to win that one, didn't you? We've had it in 2000, in 2005, and last year when Colin Turkington, Jason Plato and Fabrizio Giovanardi all went in with a chance of the title, but with 4 possibly now going in, well, looking to be going into Brands, it really makes for a fantastic finale. Yeah, and of course it will be on the Indy circuit at Brands as well, not the Grand Prix circuit, so get yourself a ticket and you'll see every lap of every race as the championship unfolds in 3 weeks' time. It's going to be fabulous event to finish off the British Touring Cars, and I tell you, this one's going to be exciting too. Matt Neal, as we heard, really knows he needs to win this race to keep himself in the hunt, because he's a little bit behind his teammate now, Gordon Shedden and Tom Onslow Cole, battling over second in the points. So Matt Neal knows how crucial this one is, as everybody now moving into position onto the grid. James Kay moving that grey Honda Integra into position, and I think we're almost ready to go. Remember, Tom Boardman will be coming from the pit lane after the rest of the field has gone past the pit lane exit, but otherwise it's all about the battle up front between Andrew Jordan in the multicoloured Pertec car and the Honda Racing entry of Matt Neal on the front row. Watch out for Rob Collard, the fast starter in the BMW, the white and blue car. Will he get it off the line from third place? Lights out, away we go. Good start by Matt Neal. Matt Neal's probably got a good start, but Collard also tucking in behind Andrew Jordan. Jordan defending defending tightly to the inside, which is the sensible thing, because he doesn't allow any room for Collard. He makes Matt Neal go around the outside of him. Matt will be up for that, but Etsy all through Redgate corner. So far, so good. Jordan holds the lead. The battle for second between Matt Neal and Rob Collard's round on James Kay. Oh, that's a shame. Kay faced the wrong way, but I think he's still going, and Matt Neal's just got into second ahead of Collard.
Yeah, the two front row guys, both front-wheel drive, under attack from 3 BMWs off the start line. Matt Neal took the risk of going round the outside. It appears to have paid off. He's in second place, but a great start from Andrew Jordan. He promised us he was good off the line. He delivered.
Yeah, and he won Cross by getting a good first lap in and making a break, and he's trying to do the same with everybody battling behind. But Matt Neal's beginning to get away from Collard in second. Then you've got Kane and Jackson behind them. You've got Plato in there, and then McDowell a bit further down. The two Fords didn't get off the line particularly well, but they were quite a long way down anyway, and now they've got to fight their way back up the order. This is going to be fascinating. Down in towards the chicane, Jordan with the advantage up front.
Yeah, well, Shedden and it looked like Shedden and Onslow Cole already had contact further back on this lap, so they're fighting it out for the championship as well.
Yep, and you saw McDowell and Shedden battling, but Plato's in 6th place, so Plato reasonably well placed here. Behind him is Chilton, then Onslow Cole, then McDowell and Shedden is the one who's missing out a bit of those main championship protagonists. He's got down the inside of McDowell there. Shedden desperately needs to move up, but he's carrying quite a lot of weight in this race. He's got 36 kilos of ballast round the outside of Kratos. This is brave. He's got to try and get down the inside without contact. Out goes McDowell on the grass, and Shedden's got the place.
Yeah, that was good by Shedden. He didn't lean on McDowell. McDowell just took too much speed in and perhaps gave Shedden a bit of room and got on the dirty part of the track, and that dragged him off.
Shedden's still under pressure from Nash, but up front it's still Andrew Jordan who's leading. Matt Neal still under pressure from Rob Collard. Jackson's got ahead of Kay. The two Airways BMWs swap around, but they're both under threat from Jason Plato. Kane's going to try and come back. Plato's following, and then it's Tom Chilton in the Ford. Here we are, on board with Jason Plato. Does he go for it down the inside? He's got to keep his nose clean as well.
Well, I think he was just defending there from Chilton, who was alongside him on his left, but ever so nearly ran into the back of Stephen Kane.
A non-finish by any of the main championship protagonists at this stage could be disaster. Jordan leads the race currently from Matt Neal, following the Airways BMWs of Matt Jackson and Stephen Kane. They're running 4th and 5th. Plato here is running in 6th place. He's still got Tom Chilton breathing down his neck in the Ford. Onslow Cole is behind him in 8th, then Shedden, and then it's James Nash.
Yeah, well, Plato will be happy to be outscoring Onslow Cole and Shedden. He's the only one with a margin at all in this race. The others have just got to go for maximum.
Yeah, so good news so far for Jason Plato, but he's got to stay there. There's a long way to go in this race as yet, and as we know, anything can happen. Up through McLean, everybody behaving themselves at the moment. The two BMWs using quite a lot of road on the exit of the corner. Up to Coppice they come, this tricky blind right-hander. Oh, big sideways for Kane.
Yeah, he took so much inside that it actually hooked the right-hand side of the car as it came back across the curbing and flicked him out, and that's how you get punctures and put faults in the tyres.
Andrew Jordan's lead has been gradually nibbled away on this last lap by that man Matt Neal, former double champion, who's trying to put himself into position to challenge Plato going into those final races at Brands Hatch. Matt Neal definitely closer this lap, only 0.4 of a second behind, and he set fastest lap.
Yeah, here comes Plato. Is he diving down the inside? He is. He's inside Kane. He's going to push him wide. Is Chilton going to get a look in here as well? He might well be 3 wide down McLean of Goods. This could end in tears.
Tom Chilton on the grass. Plato's still in the middle. He's managed to somehow find space there. He's still trying to go around the outside of Stephen Kane. He's got the inside line for Old Hairpin, and he thinks he's through. Yes, he is. That could have ended in tears, but somehow he's made it through.
Yeah, that was brave racing by Plato. He probably felt he didn't need to do this. And then we've got Shedden, Onslow, Cole, Kane all side by side behind.
Chilton still putting the pressure on Plato, too, at the front of that group, as you say. Onslow Cole squeezing through on the inside, or trying to with Shedden. He's going to be on the grass as well in a moment, but I think he's got the place. He's got past Gordon Shedden, and that's crucial.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give him a new one of those BRDC Superstar stickers, I think, but I don't mind. He's doing so well. I'm proud of him.
Well, so far, so good. He's kept the car in one piece, but up front, Plato, not up front, but Plato still battling with Chilton. Look at Nash down the inside. Nash getting Shedden. That was a clean move.
Yeah, and Shedden have been really annoyed about that. He wanted to go with the other cars in front. He wanted to go with Plato and Chilton and Onslow Cole. He's now got another car he's got to bet past again.
Oh, Jordan's lost the lead. Matt Neal's taken the lead.
That looked to me like a result of contact. Definitely, the way Jordan's car was moving, I'm sure there was a little bit of contact. A run from Matt Neal just on the way in.
Matt Neal is leading this race, however it happened. Andrew Jordan inside. Oh, look how sideways he gets! Fantastic car control, but he's surely going to lose that place to Rob Collard. He was using all his rallycross experience on that one, but that was incredible.
Yeah, great car control there, and unusual to sit after this amount of laps. I mean, that car's got warm tyres on the rear, but hopefully we're going to see what happened with Matt Neal. Here comes Matt Neal, look, into Redgate. Is it a late lunge? Yes, it is. Oh, there was no contact. No contact at all. I think maybe Jordan was a little wide on the dirty part of the track, maybe, and then a repeat having got dirt on his tyres into the old hairpin.
Do you think he might have a problem on that left rear, that he got sideways at Redgate and then again there at Old Hairpin?
Well, he's not a cold tyre because the tyres are up to temperature. He may have just got some dirt on it and he's cleaning up, but look, he's still fighting back against Collard now, so it doesn't appear to be a puncture or anything, but let's see if he turns in a little bit earlier here, get the weight on that left rear initially, and then feel it gripping. That's what he's done. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and it felt okay by the look of it. It went through pretty neatly, but he's behind Collard. He's in third place now, under pressure from Matt Jackson. So we've got a BMW up to second, then an Airways car in fourth. Stephen Kane has dropped back to seventh place now. Meanwhile, Plato is running in fifth place. He'll be pretty happy with that. But Matt Neal leads this race and is looking for maximum points. He's already got the extra point for fastest lap. And as the race progresses, it'll be much harder for anyone to beat that, of course. Andrew Jordan, as you say, has not given up here. He's still pushing Collard.
Yeah, and of course he gets the extra point for leading the race as well. So Neal on for a maximum, which was the least he wanted out of this race, and the least he should have got as well. But Jordan's not out of it, as you say, and he's learned. He did say on the grid they made a little change to the car, and I suspect that was actually loosening up the rear a little bit to make the front tyres last, and he's just learning to adapt his driving style now. When you've got the rear of a front-wheel drive car a little bit loose, a little bit oversteer, you've just got to turn in a little bit earlier and get some weight on that rear to feel it grip.
Well, he seems to be adapting, as you say, but he's got Jackson pretty close behind him. Then it's Plato, as you can see, in a fairly comfortable fifth place, ahead of Tom Chilton. Then Stephen Kane. Also, Cole's there in eighth in the other Ford. Shedden is the main loser of the sort of main challenges. Oh, yes, Plato's just snatched that extra point for fastest lap. That could be crucial.
Yeah, the Honda team looking on there anxiously. At least they're seeing their man win, but Plato's eked out another point for fastest lap, and crucially, he's got away from Chilton, because Chilton was the one that was putting him under pressure, and probably the one he was most worried about with the power of that Ford down the straight. So at least he's got some breathing room behind, and he's now catching up very quickly to the back of Jackson.
That Chevrolet is flying, isn't it? It looks to be coming on very, very strong in the latter part of the season, which is exactly what they wanted, to be able to keep this challenge alive. And Plato getting a little closer to the back of Matt Jackson. That lap he just did, Tim, a 12.0. I mean, it's massively quicker than anyone else is doing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Neal did a 12.4, but then it was a 12.6, 12.9, 12.8, so almost a second quicker than the two cars immediately in front of him, and that's huge. That is huge.
This Chevrolet is flying here at Donington Park, no doubt about it. It has pulled away from the Ford Focus of Tom Chilton, and despite Jason's complaints about that car over the earlier part of this year, there's no doubt the Chevy is quick here. Up ahead, Jordan was having a little nibble there at Rob Collard, but there wasn't a way through. But look how close he is again to the back of the BMW as they come down through Craner curves.
Yeah, well, if anybody can live with a loose front-wheel drive car in the way that we used to see Van Muller and Giovanardi do, it is this man Jordan. As you said, he was British Rallycross champion. Well, you don't get much more sideways than that, so he can live with a car that slides around a bit.
Yeah, he made a little mistake there at Old Hairpin. He does was like running onto the grass, and that wouldn't have done his hopes any good at all, so he's lost a length or two. Plato joining the back of this queue. Behind them you can see Chilton under pressure from Stephen Kane, and the Ford not getting away from the BMW there. Stephen Kane keeping very much in touch with him at the moment, but the Airways guys having a good weekend here in the top 10 in each of the races. Behind them you've got Shedden, who's got in front again of McDowell, but he's got Onslow Cole almost pushing him down the straight, and these two, remember, are battling for the outright championship.
Yeah, they are, and heavy defending by Shedden is what he's got to do to stop that Ford getting run. He got a good run through the corner though, so is he going to be able to move back across to the left and take his normal line? He should be able to, and he should be able to brake later, but never rule out Onslow Cole.
Yeah, he's defending from McDowell actually. As they went past our commentary position, I saw McDowell is tucked in right behind this Ford, so he almost had to go tight. That was a little bit too wide from Shedden, but I think he'll live with that just about. But it might put dirt on his tyres, and it's a scary place with dirt on your tyres down there.
Yeah, well, it won't be. It's on the front. You can see a little twitch. It amazes me just how much grip these cars get on the grass, particularly the front-wheel drive cars. They obviously have some very good differentials.
There's McDowell, as I mentioned, right in the wheel tracks of the Ford of Tom Onslow Cole. McDowell will fancy his chances of moving up. He's in 10th place. Meanwhile, there's Stephen Kane and Tom Chilton. And Kane has got past Chilton, has he? Well, he's certainly eased up.
Dust ahead.
Jackson is off in the gravel on the exit of Coppice. That makes a big change, because that puts Plato up another position, as McDowell still chases Onslow Cole. So Plato now in fourth rather, and in fourth place, and pushing Jordan under massive pressure for third place.
Yeah, well, these are the sort of occasions that, where you want to see a champion prove his mettle, and Jason is nothing less than a champion, and he's proving it today with his storming drive to third from the back in the second race, and another positive enforcing drive. Take the situation. Just ran into the back of, carried too much speed, maybe ran into the back of Andrew Jordan, but just going back to Plato, he really is driving like he wants this championship.
Definitely right, yeah, he's not backing off. Look at McDowell and Onslow. Oh no! He's gone off on the way down towards Ayrton. That is a big off for McDowell. Thankfully, it's a huge gravel track. We've seen some big accidents there in the past. McDowell will be okay, but that was a very high speed, 140 miles an hour nearly, as they head off there. So,
well, I was so glad that car, despite going sideways, didn't dig into the gravel. That's the danger there. We've actually had a car over the barrier there once before when it dug in and started rolling, and I was holding my breath as he slid through the gravel that it stayed on four wheels, and fortunately it did.
Yeah, that is a scary place to go off, but he's okay, and McDowell will be out of the car pretty soon, I'm sure. Meanwhile, still some great racing going on here. For third place, it's between Andrew Jordan and Jason Plato. Nothing to choose between them at the moment. Behind them, it's still Stephen Kane running in 5th place. Tom Chilton is in 6th place and still the first of the Fords. I think Onslow Cole survived that scare with McDowell. He's come across in 9th. Take another look at this.
Yeah, I mean, McDowell's just moving back a little bit to take a line for the corner, but he's he's got the Ford right alongside him, and the Ford's carried a little bit of speed, and fortunately it just stays on four wheels.
Yeah, amazing. It didn't even look like tipping, but gravel tracks have been very well prepared for this weekend, I have to say. On board with Jason Plato as he still chases the Vauxhall there of Andrew Jordan, who's holding on to a potential podium finish here, using more and more inside curb everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's certainly not frightened of damaging his wheels and his tyres. I mean, look at that. I mean, you can see the rear tyre absolutely hitting the side of the curb on the way through there. And I mean, okay, it's front-wheel drive, you can get away with it, but wow, it really puts your tyres and wheels through some punishment.
Little dab of the left foot on the brake to make sure he's got brakes before the chicane, and then he, on the brakes, hops over the curb. They're all managing to miss those polystyrene bales just about on the apex, the second apex there. Plato's still sitting there in 4th place at the moment, behind Andrew Jordan. Stephen Kane is in 5th, Chilton in 6th place. But remember that Matt Neal is still leading this race, and Matt Neal's looking at getting almost maximum points, not quite maximum because Plato has taken that fastest lap, but there you can see the gap between Matt Neal and Rob Collard in 2nd place. It's very comfortable at the moment for Matt Neal, and it's all a question really of how much more progress Jason Plato is going to make in this race.
Yeah, well, that fastest lap's not going to change now. We're too far into the race, so Plato's definitely got that in the bag, but he's just biding his time. I think that Plato's car is much stronger on the brakes than Jordan's car, definitely. And sooner or later, when Jordan makes a little mistake in the corner, you're going to see Jason have a lunge.
Yeah, definitely have a go, I'm sure. At the moment, Jordan's doing a lovely job, though, of not making any mistakes. You're looking back from Andrew Jordan's car now over his rear wing, and Plato seems to be just biding his time, waiting, as you say, for those tyres to go off a little bit more on the turbocharged car of Andrew Jordan, running this the new generation touring car engine. we're going to see a whole new generation touring car at Brands Hatch briefly appear in the practice sessions, aren't we, Tim? That'll be fun to see.
Looking forward to that. James Thompson's going to give it its public debut, and a very attractive looking car it is, apparently a Toyota-based car, but built completely to the new NGT regs, and I can't wait to see it and see how it performs. I'm not sure whether it'll actually race, because I don't think they have a lot of spares for it, but I'm certainly looking forward to seeing it.
Yep, that will be fun. Another thing that Brands Hatch will bring us, as well as an enticing championship battle. That was Jordan again, sideways, down through Craner curves, over the curve, and old hairpin. He kicks up a bit more gravel in Plato's bonnet. But that, as you say, the looseness of that Vauxhall is something to behold, isn't it?
It really is. Even just going through the little twitch there into Starkey's, the car looks fundamentally unstable from the rear.
But Plato's got a very good run out of McLean. It's not really a great overtaking opportunity here, but he might now try and really set him up as they come onto the straight and see if he can power past him. But that turbo does work well here. That's where it is able to just pull a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, and actually Jordan is very good through Coppice Corner. He carries a lot of entry speed. Obviously he uses the inside of the track. Oh, now that's the sort of mistake that will kill your momentum on the way out and maybe give Plato a chance into Redgate. Not this lap, but something like that is going to give him the opportunity.
It's nail-biting stuff, it really is. Jason Plato battling to extend his championship lead over the likes of Matt Neal, Tom Onslow Cole, Gordon Shedden, and indeed Tom Chilton. And he should be in place to do that, Plato. He's doing everything needed. We're on lap 14 out of 16 here. It's still comfortably out in front, Matt Neal. There he is, as he exits Old Hairpin. Rob Collard still in a solid second place, but those guys, you can see how hard they're working. The cars are sort of floating, whereas Jason Plato still looks very much under control in fourth place there. Doesn't seem to be overextending the machinery, waiting to pounce if an opportunity arises. Behind him it's still Stephen Kane in fifth place, Tom Chilton in sixth, Shedden holding on to seventh with quite a lot of ballast on board, Jackson in eighth, Onslow Cole is in ninth, James Nash holding on to 10th, just outside the top 10 by the way, Lee Wood, John George, Dave Pinkney and then Arthur Forster. But we're focusing on this closest battle. It is for that final podium slot, and it's still Plato putting on all the pressure he can as Jordan dances over that curve, hops a wheel in the air but keeps it under control.
Yeah, definitely Plato will be pretty happy with this. Obviously he's outpointed Shedden and Onslow Cole, the closest people to him. Oh, there we go!
Down the inside, late lunge for Plato, on the brakes as you said it would be, and he's done it surely. That really caught Andrew Jordan, and he went for it very late down the inside, still side by side.
It's not over yet.
No, they're still going for it down through graded curves. Look at Jordan, he will not give it up if he can hold on, but now Plato's got the inside line. Oh, this is dangerous. Over the grass goes Jordan, and he's now squeezed out. He's going to have to rejoin here somewhere. Oh, that could be dangerous. And now Kane's got involved. Stephen Kane's appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, but it's still not finished because at least Plato has the inside line for this corner, but he is risking a non-finish here with this side-by-side battling. But Plato is a charger, he is a racer, and he wanted that position. And now he's got it with a little gap.
Wow, as you say, that was real heart-in-mouth stuff when you're chasing a championship and you end up running side by side with somebody in that kind of speed, in that kind of situation. Jordan is the big loser though, because he fought so hard, he's ended up losing 3-4 places. There he is on the back of that queue now, and he's gone from third to, I think it's seventh. Let's just check as they cross the line. Plato now in third, Kane fourth, Chilton fifth, Shedden sixth, and yes, Andrew Jordan is in seventh as we go on to the final lap. And Plato has really been in championship winning style. Oh, big sideways there. That was Tom Chilton, I think.
It was, yeah.
Well,
Chilton lost it himself there, and he's under attack from Shedden on this last lap. But you know that shows how much Plato wants it. He was willing to fight for every position and duke it out for half a lap side by side. And you know, those little points may be worthwhile. It would have been easy to have said afterwards if he'd gone off that it wasn't worth it, but he needs everything. But this is the man that's going to take almost maximum points apart from fastest lap from this race and give himself the best chance of still being in the hunt when they come back. And here's Shedden still fighting for extra points.
Yeah, and that's important from his point of view. Shedden getting past Chilton, because that means he's going to have more chance of challenging in that championship battle at Brands. But it's Matt Neal who's going to bring the little Honda Civic across the line for another victory here at Donington. Gordon Shedden won earlier, now it's Matt Neal's turn, and he keeps his championship hopes alive. Look at this, Chilton's got back in front of Shedden. Damage to the front of Shedden's car, and it's going to be second Collard, third Plato, fourth to Stephen Kane, fifth to Chilton, just ahead of Shedden. Well, fantastic racing. Jordan finishes seventh. I think Jackson will get eighth, and Onslow Cole will have ninth place. But Jason Plato was not in any mood there to just conserve his position. He went for it utterly. It was risky, but it's earned him third place, and that has earned him a decent little margin going into those final three races at Brands Hatch. How important will this Donington event prove to be in the end, Tim, for Jason Plato?
Absolutely. I think, you know, he will probably say this was a weekend which helped him perhaps win the championship, but certainly not lose it.
Yeah, well, he's come back. He's fought back after that accident that put him out in the first race of the day. He's fought back so hard in both races, and he's been willing to take it to the edge, to take the gambles, and it has worked for him. It might have gone wrong, but actually it's worked out very well. Let's take a look at that last lap from Shedden's point of view, because he and Chilton had a massive battle.
Yeah, this was up at McLean's. He gets alongside here, and it would be important. He carries a bit too much speed in here and just allows Chilton to get back inside him, and of course the Ford is a bit quicker, so he tries to chop back across the front, stop him actually getting the inside line, but it looks like Chilton is able to actually drive all the way past him on the outside. Yep.
So he got in front by the time they turned in. There you are, there's the flick back to the front.
Yeah.
And Chilton must have been pretty brave on the outside there.
Yeah, he must have been turned in, but he was probably clearly in front at that time.
So, good move by Chilton, and that was crucial. The extra points making all the difference at the end of the day. But it was Matt Neal who took victory at Donington in the final race of the day, a circuit where he's had so much success in the past. He takes the victory by 4 seconds over a good second place for Rob Collard. Jason Plato a solid third after having to fight for it. Kane in fourth, then Chilton in fifth, Shedden in sixth. Andrew Jordan dropped to seventh in the end. Matt Jackson finished eighth, then Tom Onslow Cole was ninth, and James Nash finished 10th. Outside the top 10 we saw Lee Wood, John George, David Pinkney and Arthur Forster. Paul O'Neill had to come into the pits. Alex McDowell went off in dramatic fashion. Sean Hollenby failed to finish. Tom Ballman had problems, and we also lost Andy Neat and James Kay. Here we go. This is how the championship looks going into the last three races at Brands Hatch in 3 weeks' time. It's Honda, well, that's the manufacturers we're looking there at. Honda will be just ahead still of Team Aon and of Airways, so Honda looking good in terms of taking the team's championship. It's still going to be very close between Honda and Ford, by the way, in the manufacturers stroke constructors championship, but this is the one we want to have a look at, and it is the drivers championship. So Jason Plato then, he has 17-point lead, is it, over Matt Neal? 17 is a win and a fastest lap, so that's an interesting margin. It's a good margin. Matt Neal's forged his way back into second though, and Gordon Shedden and Tom Onslow Cole can still win the championship. They can still do it. For Tom Chilton, I think mathematically it's almost out of the equation, but it means we've definitely got 4